For thousands of years, money could be something that you could hold in your hand, but today that is changing. I began asking a simple question: what happened to freedom when cash disappears? Are we going to have a crisis like this one? This film is in that search. Come with me as we search. About 2,000 years ago, a prophet by the name of John the Revelator on the Isle of Patmos, he wrote in the book of Revelation, chapter 13, that there will be a time when you will not be able to buy or sell. John could not see the technology that will be taking place today where we don't need cash. What was John really talking about? Not be able to buy and sell? Can anyone stop us from buy and sell? How can they do that? Revelation, John was simply telling us that there will be a system where there will be no cash. That's what this series is about. Stay tuned. If we lose our cash, we lose our freedom. A biblical warning of the coming cashless society. Narrated by Andre Shaw. Every day begins the same way. Sun rises over cities and farms. People wake, work, trade, and provide, often without thinking about the systems that make daily life possible. Money is one of those systems, invisible when it works, impossible to ignore when it changes. Across towns and cities, machines that once dispensed cash quietly disappear. ATMs are removed, branches close. There are fewer places to hold money in your hand. Change is gradual, almost polite. And because it happens slowly, few stop to ask why. Signs appear where conversation used to happen. Card only. No cash accepted. Efficiency is the explanation. Safety is the justification. Convenience is the promise. But not everyone experiences convenience the same way. For the elderly, for those without access, for those unfamiliar with digital systems, something essential is being taken away. Not money, participation. Small business owners feel it first. Transaction fees rise. Dependence increases. Independence shrinks. What once felt local begins to feel managed. I began asking questions, not as an economist, not as a politician, but a citizen, father, a man of faith. What happens when we don't have access to cash? When we can only access our money by permission? What will happen? Nearly 2,000 years ago, the book of Revelation described a system where buying and selling required approval. This film does not claim prophecy as being fulfilled. It asks a simple question: are we building systems that make such control possible? If money can be controlled, what else can be? Central bank digital currencies, or CBDC, are often explained as an upgrade. Digital version of national money, faster payments, better oversight. But beneath the language of efficiency lies a fundamental shift. For the first time in history, money itself can be programmed, where it can be spent, when it can be spent, and whether it can be spent at all. This is not science fiction. The technology already exists. Cash or cashless. Cash or digital. Many persons today go to the grocery store and purchase. Some use cash, some use cashless. Today, with me, a friend of mine, we're having lunch today at a restaurant. We'll be discussing about cash at the grocery store. He's a cashier at a local grocery store. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate being here and talking to you.
As a cashier, you handle money every day. What percentage of customers still use cash compared to cards or tap payments?
Well, I don't know the exact percentage at the moment, but if I had to guess, it would be around 15% or so would use cash instead of their card.
So that's like way less. And I believe like probably back in the days, it would be like probably 75%.
Oh yeah, it'd be a lot closer to that, I would imagine.
Have you noticed a change over the years in how people choose to pay?
Most definitely. A lot of people have been using their phones to pay, or sometimes even a card over cash, for sure.
And I do believe that back then there was no card. Everything was done just
No, it was
cash.
all either coins or bills or stuff like that.
But even today, you know that I can even use my watch to pay.
Yeah, it's so wild how it's changed over time.
Do some customers prefer cash? What do they say about that?
I would say some customers, especially the elderly, prefer to use cash over their card, partially because they can physically see the money and makes it much easier for them to budget.
And I guess they will have more confidence in what they can see.
Oh yeah, especially just seeing a bright like $20 bill or $10 bill just makes it way easier.
I don't know how long you have been working as a cashier, but have you worked a shift where person don't use cash at all in that shift?
Well, some shifts will have more cash than other times. Sometimes just flat out no cash at all, especially when we're having a lot of younger customers. They won't use cash at all.
How do you personally feel about digital only payments becoming the norm? It's like the norm now that most persons are just using digital. How do you feel about it?
I'm personally fine with the change from cash to debit or even paying with your phone. It causes a lot less waste on resources, such as like building the money, like with coins and bills and all that. And I do like to carry a little cash on me just in case something happens, like a power outage or some other situation. But generally, I like the change.
But what do you think about like, and yeah, I do like the changes also, but do you think it's going to take away our privacy totally?
I don't personally think so, to be honest, because we've had banks for a long time and we've trusted them generally for a while. So I don't think it's going to be a complete takeover, to be honest.
You heard about the Gen Z generation?
I have.
Gen Z?
Yeah.
Do you think they really
have a connection with physical money?
I would say generally not. Most don't tend to carry around cash with them in the first place, and even if they do, it's not really gonna, or they're not really gonna use it very often. So I would say generally no, depending on the generation of people. So the older generations typically will use cash a lot more because that's what they're used to using, versus the younger generation will stick with cashless, primarily using their phone or card.
Appreciate your time. Appreciate the time you spend with me today. Enjoy the remaining portion of your day.
I'm happy to be here, and you guys have a nice day.
All right. Bye.
To function, digital money requires digital identity, a verified self, a unified profile, access tied not just to who you are, but to whether you comply. Every digital transaction leaves a record. Patterns emerge. Behaviors are analyzed. Data becomes power. And power, once centralized, really moves in reverse. History offers reminders. Empires have always sought control through currency. Roman coins bore Caesar's image. Participation in the economy signaled allegiance to the system behind it. In Scripture, money is not condemned, but it is never neutral. Jesus asks whose image was on the coin. The image revealed ownership. Humanity, the Bible says, bear God's image, not the state's. This distinction matters. Experts disagree on outcomes. Some see protection, others see risk. The debate is not about technology, it is about authority and where the final decision rests. The realization is unavoidable. The system is no longer theoretical, it already exists. Faced with uncertainty, some families choose preparation, not in fear, but in wisdom. Learning skills, reducing dependence, rebuilding resilience. Faith communities respond differently, not with panic, but with principle, asking what it means to live faithfully in a changing world. Local economies offer another path: trust, relationship, exchange rooted in community rather than code. For me, this journey became personal. Technology will continue to advance. This is not the question. The question is whether conscience will be allowed to exist alongside it. Scripture speaks often about allegiance, about who we serve, and what we trust for provision. These are not abstract questions, they are lived decisions. This film is not a call to fear, it is a call to awareness, because awareness leads to wisdom, and wisdom leads to choice. The future is not written, but it is being designed, one system at a time. Awareness leads to wisdom, not fear. What happens to freedom when cash disappears? And are we already crossing the biblical line? If we lose our cash, we lose our freedom. An investigative and biblical documentary. Convenience, control, and ancient warning we are told to watch for. As governments and corporations rapidly move toward a cashless economy, a faith-informed investigator examines whether this global shift aligns with the biblical warning of Revelation 30 and what it means for freedom, conscience, and the future of humanity. I didn't begin asking these questions because of fear. I began because something I had always relied on was quietly disappearing. Cash. Who controls the future of money controls behavior. The Bible warned of a system where buying and selling could be controlled. The question is no longer if such a system is possible, but who controls it. For most of human history, money was something you could hold. You earn it, you save it, you pass it from one hand to another. But quietly, that's changing. Around the world, cash is disappearing. Not because people ask for it, but because systems decide it was no longer necessary. I began asking questions when I realized something troubling. If access to money can be turned on or off, then so can freedom. The Bible warned of a time when buying and selling would no longer be a simple act, but a controlled one. For centuries, those words were symbolic. Today, they are technical. This film is not about fear, it's about awareness. Not about speculation, but preparation. Because the question is no longer whether such a system can exist. The question is who controls it and what it will demand in return. Nearly 2,000 years ago, Scripture warned of a time when buying and selling would be controlled. At the time, such a system was impossible. Today, it's operational. I didn't set out to make a film about money. I set out to understand what happens when access to money changes hands. This documentary is not an accusation, it's an investigation. Scripture warns us to watch, not panic, not rebel, but discern. My hope is that this film helps people pause and ask better questions. Cash doesn't disappear quietly. When physical money is removed, entire systems are pulled away with it. Paper stops being printed. Secure inks are no longer needed. Specialized presses fall silent. Fewer armored trucks move through our streets. Fewer vaults are opened. Fewer hands count, secure, and distribute money. On the surface, this looks efficient, cleaner, more modern. Some argue it's better for the environment. Fewer trees cut, fewer trucks on the road. But that is only one side of the story. Because a cashless system doesn't remove consumption, it transfers it. Paper is replaced by servers. Trucks are replaced by data centers. Ink is replaced by electricity. And while cash leaves no digital footprint, every cashless transaction does. For millions of people, the elderly, the poor, the unbanked, cash isn't a preference, it's access. And when access is controlled, freedom changes shape. The question is not whether technology will advance. The question is, what do we lose when the last bill disappears from our hands?
Cash or cashless? What is it that the church is saying about it? Let us hear from our pastor.
From a faith perspective, how do you understand money? Not just as a currency, but as a moral or spiritual tool.
Well, the Bible talks about money, the love of money, as being the root of all evil. And I think money is a gift from God. It's a what should I say? We can use it as stewards to bless others. Of course, we use it to provide for our own needs, but we can use it as a blessing for other people, help them along life's pathway. But yeah, some people make money their God. It can be an idol. But I think for a Christian, money is a tool that we can use, not only to bless ourselves, but to bless others.
Does scripture say anything about control allegiance or dependence related to economic system?
No, I'm not sure about that one. We are to render unto Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and unto God the things that are God. In other words, we should comply with governments as far as possible when they do not contradict God's law. But other than that, yeah, Christians should be law-abiding citizens.
How should faith communities respond to rapid technological change without fear?
I think that we have to put our trust in God in all times, whether it's personal health issues or financial issues, or whether it's government legislations, whatever it is. God's in control. We are His children, and He is all powerful. So we have nothing to fear for the future, and we know and we appreciate how God has led us in the past.
You are the pastor of a church. Do you hear anything from your congregation about digital money or surveillance?
Yeah, people are concerned about that. Yeah, absolutely. I think that surveillance thing is huge, and of course, with digital currency comes control. And when we want to have freedom to make our own choices, and particularly when it comes to choices for our spiritual, or in our relationship with God, we want to have freedom to be able to do what we want with our funds, and not to have Big Brother monitoring what we spend it on.
Do you think there's a point where convenience could conflict with conscience?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. If we go without currency, then it's very convenient probably, but if there's control on how we spend that money, then yeah, that can go against our conscience. Sure.
What wisdom would you offer believers navigating this future?
Keep your eye on Jesus. He's the author and finisher of our faith, and He'll carry you through. That's what wisdom I have for you.
Industries affected by removing cash, currency printing, secure paper and polymer manufacturing, ink and anti-counterfeit materials, ATM manufacturing and servicing, armored transport and security, bank tellers and branch staff, small cash-based businesses, informal and rural economies, jobs at risk, bank tellers, ATM technicians, cash handlers, security guards, printing workers, maintenance staff, cleaning crews, logistic planners, equipment suppliers, environment and the cashless society. What reduce? Paper production, physical transport emissions. What increase? Data centers, server cooling, energy demand, electronic waste, rare earth mineral mining. Cash versus cashless. Cash is private. Cashless, fully traceable. Cash is universal. Cashless, permission based. Cash, tangible. Cashless, abstract.
Cash or cashless. Today we have two university students. We're going to take note. One will be using cash, one will be using no cash, digital. What's the difference? Let us see. This is one of the convenience of not using cash. I just noticed you make a purchase at the grocery store and at the gas station, but you did not use cash. You use digital.
Yes.
It's a convenient. I recognize it's very convenient, but which do you prefer, convenience or freedom?
I prefer convenience.
But do you know to get your convenience, your freedom will be taken away one day?
Yes, I know that. And I think until then, I will make use of the convenience until I have no choice.
But with that freedom being taken away, they will know everywhere you purchase, everything you do, and they can even stop where you purchase. Are you willing to give up that freedom?
No, I like my freedom, so I won't give that up.
Well, then you will have to work with the system.
I know. I think until then, I will work with the convenience. And then when that time comes, I will take my freedom and leave the convenience alone.
Leave the convenience alone.
Yes.
Okay, no problem. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
This is one of the inconvenience of using cash. She went inside, pay, come back out. So do your thing. I just noticed you make a purchase at the gas station and at the grocery store and you use cash.
Yeah.
You did not use digital. Why?
Well, to me, cash is just more convenient. It's easier to handle. And I don't like when people can track all my purchases. So when it's just a cash transaction, there's no tracking in my bank apps. Especially as a college student, with credit cards and debit cards, sometimes you're in debt and you keep tapping and tapping and tapping. I think with cash, I have more of a grounding. Like,
Freedom.
this is the cash that I have and I can just spend it. When it's more digital, it's more technical and lots of consequences with it and everything.
Do we ever believe that one day is going to come when there will be no cash?
Yeah, it's already here. At my university right now, in the food court, everywhere is cashless. You have to have a card. Like nowhere takes cash. Only a vending machine probably.
All right. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.
There you have it. 2 university students, one using cash, one using digital. The convenience is good, but the freedom will be taken away with the convenience. It's your choice. You make your choice when that time comes. Thank you.
Job loss estimates based on cashless system. In Canada, approximate bank tellers and branch staff 30,000 to 50,000. ATM services and cash logistics 8,000 to 12,000. Printing and security maintenance 5,000 to 10,000. Job losses is possible. 40,000 to 70,000 jobs over a period of time. Cash-related employment worldwide, millions. Most jobs losses will be gradual but permanent. The Bible doesn't predict technology. It warns about systems where participation in society becomes conditional. Revelation speaks of a time when buying and selling requires permission. Whether one reads that spiritually, symbolically, or literally, the principle is the same. When access to basic life depends on centralized approval, freedom changes. This film does not claim prophecy is fulfilled. It asks whether we are building systems that make such control possible.
Cash or cashless? Cash or digital? What is being said politically? Let us hear what's being said politically. Cash or cashless?
So here's my theory, though. If you go back to 9/11, and when Wesley Clark said we're gonna invade 7 countries in 5 years, what you were talking about were the countries where those central banks were not on board to do programmable money. And their governance structures were not on board with essentially, because of Epstein, I'll call it the Rockefeller Rothschild model. There was an effort to say, okay, we're going to basically assert control of the central banks in those countries. That's my interpretation. And I think one of the reasons we're seeing so much tension around Iran is because Iran right now is the big leakage in the system. So, Iran's central bank counts. One of the reasons it counts is because their oil and energy is very important, including for China, important in the BRICS system. What the BRICS system is trying to do is to create independent payment systems. But if you're going to come out with programmable money, with digital IDs that are interoperable globally and programmable money that controls in each jurisdiction centrally, you can't afford leakage. And so you've got way too much leakage in the system to proceed with what they're trying to do. And Iran is, and the BRIC nations are a sticking point. And certainly Iran's oil, feeding China gives China greater independence. So if we wind up with a 100% digital system, no cash, no paper money, we're moving there, although we're trying to remember if millions of Americans start using cash in size, it can absolutely revolutionize what happens. So I recommend it. But if we move there, then if I want you to not be able to leave your home, your money won't work if you leave your home. If I want you to only be able to eat certain foods, and if I want you to be able to eat foods made with insects and not be able to buy real meat, your money won't work to buy real meat. If I want you to take a vaccine a month and I mandate vaccines for you and your family, if you don't, I'll turn off your money. So I have complete control of your food, your healthcare, your spatial travel, everything. So you are no longer in a democracy or a democratic republic, you are in a slavery system. If I want your kids to leave their home and go to a boarding school where I control their education, if you don't agree, I turn off your money.
I'll be making certain announcements regarding the acceleration of Jamaica's intention to become a fully digital society. We are well on our way to this. We have established the national identification system. We have put in place our digital currency. We have given directions to our ministries to digitalize their operations. Most of our ministries are now moving from paper-based systems to digital systems. Our military is transitioning, and when I leave here today, I'm going to the JCF's program of digital transformation of the Jamaica Constabulary Force. The society is moving very quickly, very rapidly to become digital. Our banking consumers are seeing it as well, because the banks are moving very rapidly to digital. I get the complaints all the time, very difficult for people to get cash. People are being directed to ATMs, and it's very difficult for some people to go and interface with a machine. They like to interface with a teller, but the banking system is changing. You have something now called artificial intelligence. Very soon, this position of a human being exchanging cash and so on, that is going to disappear from the banking system very soon. And you are going to have to interface with machines. I don't want it to be a scary thought, but it is a thought that we all have to embrace. So for those of us who are skeptical, who are afraid of it, we are here to support you. And so I'm giving this task, which we'll give to other entities, to the Universal Access Fund, that those youngsters who are going to get their technology training, that you should create a digital cohort who you will assign to ensure that our seniors and those persons who are not digitally literate have digital coaches to help them to access the internet and to show them what is a browser, how to enter information, how to download information, that kind of thing, because we need to get them on board very quickly. Digital is the way. And so every Jamaican must become digital in their thinking. And that means you must have access to the internet. And that is why the government is allocating this significant amount of resources, $500 million Jamaican dollars, to put up Wi-Fi access all around the country. So if you can't pay for your Wi-Fi by virtue of buying credit, you just wait till the traffic cool down and you come over to the park and you sit on your chair and you go on, you check your email, you can check your social media, you can send your messages, You can make your applications, pay your taxes, and then when you finish, don't spend too long on it so that nobody else can get on it. And then you go home and you're good.
In the beginning, according to the book of Genesis, there was no money. God placed Adam and Eve in a garden, not a marketplace. They were given responsibility, not currency. The land provided their needs. Work existed, but money did not. Provision flowed directly from stewardship. Money enters the biblical story much later, not as a moral evil, but as a tool that emerges alongside trade, distance, and empire. In the Old Testament, silver is weighed, not printed. Coins and formal currency appear as societies grow more complex and power becomes more centralized. By the time of Jesus, money is everywhere, but it is not neutral. Judah lives under Roman occupation. Taxes are collected in Roman coinage. The economy reflects imperial control. When Jesus is asked whether it is lawful to pay taxes to Caesar, he asks for a coin. He then asks a simple question: whose image and superscription is on it? The answer is obvious: Caesar's. The implication is subtle but powerful. The coin belongs to the empire because it bears the empire's image. Jesus responds, "Render therefore unto Caesar the things which are Caesar's, and unto God the things which are God's." In Scripture, image signifies ownership. Money bears the image of political authority. Humanity, by contrast, bears the image of God. The distinction matters. Jesus does not reject money outright, but he exposes its limits and its loyalties. Money reflects the system that creates it, and systems shape how people live, buy, sell, and survive. From a garden sustained by stewardship to coins stamped by empire, the Bible traces not just the rise of money, but the question of who or what we ultimately belong to.
Cash or cashless? Which system is more convenient? Which is easier? Which do you prefer? Let us hear what person every day are saying about this system.
How do you usually pay for things, cash or digital?
Both. I use both cash and digital, but most of the time is digital.
Have you noticed fewer places accepting cash today?
Yes, I do notice that few places is going using cash, mostly digital.
Would you be concerned if cash disappeared?
Yeah, I would be concerned. Why? Because it would take away our privacy when we don't have cash, because to me, to be digital, they kind of control you and can track how you spend your money. So it raise a concern.
What do you value more, convenience or privacy?
I love convenience, but I also valued my privacy. So privacy would be more. I value my privacy more than convenience.
Have you ever been unable to pay because a system failed?
Yes, a lot of times, even recently, trying to order stuff online and it fails. The system fails. So yeah.
What would freedom in money look like to you?
So freedom in money to me would be I'm free to spend as I please, go wherever I want to go, buy what I want to buy without no one watching or controlling me. So yeah, free to do, free to spend, free to travel, and not being trapped.
Throughout Christian history, different interpretations of prophecy have emerged. One such interpretation, held by certain Protestant traditions since the Reformation, understand the mark of the beast described in Revelation as a future system of enforced worship rather than a physical mark. According to this view, the issue is not technology, but allegiance. Those who hold this interpretation point to the biblical emphasis on worship, law, and authority. They argue that the mark is received not in the hand or forehead literally, but symbolically, representing actions and beliefs. Within this theological framework, Sunday worship is seen not merely as a day, but as a symbol of authority, specifically the authority of church tradition over biblical command. This interpretation traces its roots to the Protestant Reformation, when reformers openly identified the papal system as a religious power that combined church and state authority. It is important to understand this perspective does not claim that individual Catholics are responsible, nor does it deny the sincerity of their faith. Rather, it critiques system of authority, not personal belief. Those who hold this view believe that Revelation warning about buying and selling describes a time when economic participation would be tied to ideological or religious compliance. And any person refused to conform to such worship as Sunday would be excluded from buying and selling. In the modern world, they see digital systems as potential tools, not proof, that could enable such control. Events like the global lockdowns of 2020 are viewed by some as demonstration of how quickly societies can accept restriction during crises. Others strongly disagree. This film does not declare intent, it asks whether systems created for emergencies could be used for other purposes. The question then is not whether prophecy has been fulfilled, but whether humanity is building structures that make coercion possible, should power ever demand it. This interpretation represents one theological viewpoint among many. Viewers are encouraged to study, reflect, and draw their own conclusion. Thank you for watching this video. For more information, please get a copy of my book via Amazon.com.